Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents the Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and Books and Brews Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everybody. It is time for Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations. We talk to podcast/movie aficionado Andy Heller of Fat Dude Digs Flicks, then John Gaskins of the Sioux Falls Canaries. He'll be on the show to talk about what's on tap for entertainment this year at the Birdcage. Plus, they're actually going to have a pretty good team, too. So today, episode 74, I am so thankful for all the great guests that we've had on the program and for all those yet to come. Next week means it'll be the Diamond episode. To celebrate episode number 75, the Vaughties presents their April Fool's Gold variety show at the Sky Lounge and Tea, Thursday night the 15th, showtime 8 p.m., tickets only $10. That's not the only thing going on next weekend, though, at the Sky. Ruggedly Handsome Trivia host, he's going to be there at the Sky next Friday night. And before the Sky's $1,000 karaoke contest Saturday night the 17th, the first ever Dave Holly Hour live podcast. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Well, I can tell you a dear friend of mine is ready to start the party once this pandemic is completely gone. He's still wearing his mask, and I applaud him for his belief. You've heard me say before, while talking to other people about music, especially saying, a good friend of mine says, live music is good for the soul. Well, that would be my dear friend Mike Henriksen. Saw him last Friday night as he was picking up some food at a restaurant that we were dining at. And he still had his mask on. Like I said, good for him. I like his way that he has held strong with his belief. And he's ready for it to come off. And he said he's getting close. He says in a few days, this thing's coming off. As soon as it is, I am going to every live event available in the Sioux Empire. So congrats, Mike Henriksen. You are this week's toast. So everybody lift up a glass right now. Mike especially would enjoy you toasting him. For those that know Mike, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I, of course, am having my usual Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels, Diet Coke with a lime. And you might, depending upon what time of the day you're listening to this program, be having a cup of coffee, maybe a glass of milk. Hey, maybe you're listening to it in the evening and you want yourself a highball or a cocktail, or you want yourself a good old strong mug of beer, whatever it is. Here's to you. Here's to Mike Henriksen, a good guy that just enjoys going out and enjoying that live music, as he says, good for the soul. Honorable mention. It is time to hand out an honorable mention. Ironically, it comes from the same place that I saw Mike Henriksen last weekend. Many of you know that, well, first of all, for those listening the first time, the honorable mention is just something we give out as a weekly, something that made me giggle, slap my knee silly, maybe chuckle, maybe go, huh. In this case, it was kind of a huh, and then it became the chuckle. So at this particular restaurant that we were at, let's just say that that night there was a waitress we had not seen before. Maybe she's come out of retirement or something. I don't know. Let's just say well-seasoned, okay? Like the steaks there, too. Hint, hint. I was drinking Diet Coke before I had another event that I knew I would be having some Jack Daniels at, so I was keeping it easy at dinner time. She saw that I was about to run out. On the spot, goes to get me more Diet Coke. I had about a third of a glass that still had some ice in it. She brings a full glass, no ice in it, takes the glass that has no ice in it, pours it into what's remaining to be filled on the glass that did have the ice, and sets the rest of it down for me to enjoy later. Kind of like an old malt stand, where they whip it up in that metal container and then bring it to you. So, unnamed waitress, you definitely made me go, huh? And then laugh. So there we have it. That's your honorable mention for the week. In the meantime, here's what's coming up. Later in the show, an entertaining conversation with John Gaskins from the Sioux Falls Canaries about the 56 shows this summer. You'll understand what we're talking about. Up next, let's talk about movies with Andy Heller from Fat Dude Digs Flicks on the Dave Holly Hour. Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
It's another Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversation on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back to the Dave Holly Hour, everybody. Oh, man, one of the things I love to talk about is movies. And we've talked in the past with the guys from 605, from Backlot 605, and their podcast. But this one, I love the name of it, and I love the way that he rates movies. So let's talk about...
Oh, you nailed it.
Fat Dude Digs Flicks. Andy Heller, how are you?
I am doing so well, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, a pleasure. I just, as soon as I got in contact with you, I think we were Instagram first and then Facebook. And it was just like, man, I love this title because, a good-sized person myself, and in one time bigger. And it's like, yeah, and what a great way to rate a movie.
Right?
So the best movie can be is 5 tacos, right?
So what I do, so typically the taco scale is how I rate everything. But if there is a movie that goes above and beyond the taco scale, we're talking Godfather, Wizard of Oz, Toy Story, these movies that, really kind of push the envelope as far as quality is concerned. Those get the golden avocado.
The golden avocado. I love it.
But yeah.
How many have that besides the ones you just mentioned?
I think last time I checked, we were at about 25 movies that are in the golden avocado pantheon. So it's, stuff ranging from the movies I listed. My favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story, It's a Wonderful Life. Those are golden avocado movies. There's a really heartbreaking documentary that is just, you watch it and it really crushes you. But because of how powerful it is, it's in the golden avocado pantheon. It's called Dear Zachary. It is, it's a tough sit. But yeah, they're movies that I think are just one step above like the best. So yeah.
Is there ever going to be a double avocado?
Oh, I think at that point I feel like I might be pushing it a little bit. But who knows? Who knows what good stuff is going to come out?
So before we get to the movies, what's your favorite taco?
Oh my goodness. So I don't eat beef anymore. So I'm a good chicken taco guy.
Right.
So anywhere you go, if they have a really good chicken taco on a crispy corn shell,
all right,
that's what I'm going for. Taco, chicken, lots of cheese. You've got me.
Yeah, because we've got to go. The audio is the theater of the mind,
right?
The great imagination. So if we're talking if we're taco bout, tacos, then we better give people a great image as to what we're talking about, as to how powerful these movies can be.
And it makes me feel a little bit like a fraud, because if you're asking what I really want, like I want a burrito.
Yeah.
Like give me a chicken burrito, rice, beans, like layer the cheese on, sour cream, avocado. That's what I want. But a chicken taco,
Chicken
that's
taco.
it. Keep it
We've
simple.
got our basis now. And how many of the current movies are going to get 5 tacos or a golden avocado?
So it's really difficult. Like I feel like a movie that just comes out, in order to get 5 tacos or a golden avocado, like it really has to be something special. Where it's that first viewing that really wows me, like then it's going to get that to that level. But it's hard for me to give it to a new movie. So 4 tacos usually is where I kind of draw the line with new ones. Some get a 4.5.
Right. So if a new one gets a 4, it's a pretty dang good movie then.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, usually if I go back and watch it again, that's when it's like, okay, this movie has earned its place in the upper echelon of movies to get that higher grade. So
with all those that you've mentioned already about the golden avocado,
yeah.
what is the number one?
My favorite movie of all time is The Godfather. It's
tough to go wrong.
Yeah, it's a cliche choice, but man, like that movie, to me, it's not just the mob element of it that makes it so special. The idea of The Godfather is that you have this man who's become wealthy and powerful for living this life of crime. The one thing he wants in this world is for his son not to follow in his footsteps. But because of the way things happen and the situation that he's kind of put himself in, the only option that his son has is to follow exactly in his footsteps and not only become as powerful and as corrupt as his father has, but as the story goes on, even worse. Yeah. It's just this tragic story that's why I like it, like because it's just it hits and it hurts, but it's so well acted, so well put together. It's easily my favorite movie of all time.
What attracted you to movies? Because I know that you were a theater guy first.
Yes.
So what was the switch, or has there not really been a switch? It's been an addition.
It's always been movies for me. Like as far back as I can remember, my family always had this deep love and appreciation for movies. We'd always make the weekly outing to the movie theater or to a video rental store just to kind of check and see, what new releases came out. My parents we'd walk through the old ones and they'd kind of point at something and go like, "Have you seen this yet?" Well, it's time that you do. So it's just it's always been ingrained in me, and I think kind of my love for movies and love for performances kind of helped influence my love of theater too, because it was like you watch these performers and they create these characters, and I was like, I want to do that. Like I want to be that person, and it just kind of like snowballed throughout my life where it was like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. Like I want to tell stories that aren't movies. I want to make my own characters. So yeah, I think they both kind of go hand in hand.
So what's been your favorite character that you've been?
I have a deep love for the story of Mice and Men. And I had a chance to play Lenny at the University of South Dakota. Like this was my senior year at USD. And I loved it. And it's one of those characters that it's like everybody has their interpretation of it and you want to play it one way. And to me, it was the kind of like childlike innocence, just and complete kind of detachment from how the normal world is supposed to be, because all that Lenny sees is the rabbits and glee, and everything is happy in his eyes, and when things aren't happy, everything shuts down. And it's just that's what I brought to that character. So Lenny was one of my favorites. I got to play a kind of a poor Irish farmer who just so happens to live like nearby one of the worst Irish gangsters in this bloody, violent play written by the guy who wrote 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri.
Yes, powerful.
Yeah, right. And he is like a madman when it comes to writing plays. So getting the chance to do that one was a ton of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Those are probably my favorites, but man, I just love getting to craft these characters and tell these stories.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Lenny first.
Okay.
So then what movie version of Mice and Men did you think was the best?
Malkovich and Gary
Of
Sinise.
course, yeah.
I love that one.
I would have been surprised if it had been a different answer.
Like, and this is a situation too where I love that book. Like, and I think that I put that book up high on the pedestal where it's like, that's what I love. But then if you have to watch a movie version, it's the Gary Sinise, John Malkovich one, just because it's Malkovich is something else. Like he's acting on a whole different level in everything that he does. And I don't know that people really recognize that anymore because he's not as famous as he once was. But to me, he is upper tier with what he can do with a character.
And what about the character you loved most in movies, or I'll give the option to you, or the movie character you would like to play?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a tough one.
I get one tough question in per interview.
Yeah,
so
that's good. Okay. So I'm gonna I'm gonna make
separate it how you wish.
Yeah.
I need a sip of Diet Coke.
So I'm gonna make this. Everybody these days seem to be playing comic book characters. Like that's the Marvel universe, the DC universe. That's where the money is. I would love to play. There is a DC character, and I think he's in other pieces of fiction as well. He's a Batman villain. His name is Solomon Grundy.
Oh,
and he's just this big hulking kind of zombie type character. Really dense, like just kind of very simple in the way that he's created. But I think Solomon Grundy is one of those like kind of, I would say, semi-famous characters because he's kind of a B-level Batman villain. But if you're a fan of Batman, you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be a ton of fun to play. There's a play called The Pillow Man, which is also written by Martin McDonough, who did 3 Billboards and Lieutenant of Inishmore, which was the play I talked about a little bit ago. It is this 4-person play where all 4 of the characters are just fascinating in their own ways. And I would love to play any of those characters in The Pillow Man. Like I used a lot of monologue work from one of the angry policemen in that play. And that would be a ton of fun. But anybody in that play, that would be a dream come true, just to get to play one of those characters.
Who's your favorite director?
So I've wrestled with this a lot lately because I used to say easily that my favorite director is David Fincher. He directed Mank. He's up for an Oscar for Mank this year. And
Great movie.
Yeah.
I caught that one already.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
And all of his movies are just fantastic. But then earlier this year or end of last year, I watched a movie from a Korean director. His name is Chan-wook Park. Mm-hmm. And all of his movies I love. Like he did this movie called Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, The Handmaiden, just these great films. And a movie called Joint Security Area, which is a fictional story of like the guards that are on the border of North Korea and South Korea, the kind of animosity that they have for each other, but then they become friends and they can't. You can't be friends. They're mortal enemies. And this crazy tragedy happens and it just kind of follows how they deal with that. And watching that movie, it clicked for me that I was like, I have never seen a bad movie from this guy. I think now that Chan-wook Park is probably my favorite director. I like Hitchcock, Spielberg, Stanley Kubrick, Martin Scorsese, all of the murderer's row of great directors. But I think right now, Chan-wook Park is probably my favorite. Because
you recently took another look at Oliver Stone's JFK, correct?
Yes, I sure did.
Yeah. Is that one of those that moved up in your rewatch?
It stayed about the same for me.
Okay.
I've always liked it, and I think there are some things about it that I'm kind of like, well, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Like, I think Kevin Costner has a tendency to start an accent and then lose that accent as the movie goes along, but then he finds it again. So that's kind of funny. But overall, I still like that movie, and I like... there might be a nostalgic attachment to that because, I was a little kid when that movie came out and I saw it in theaters and I was like, I probably shouldn't have seen it in theaters. But it left an impact. It made me obsessed with the Kennedy assassination, John F. Kennedy as a president, and knowing that movies can do more than just be silly pieces of entertainment. So that really, it stuck its claws in me and clearly hasn't shaken it out yet.
Yeah, and they can be biopics now.
Right.
It used to be it was just either an autobiography or it was a documentary.
Right.
But now they're these biopics which meld the truth and someone else's storyline as to how they'd like to have seen it.
It's like they're still trying to tell, whatever the director wants to say or whatever the writer wants to say. So it's like you're hitting the truth of the character, but also maybe you could turn it just a little bit. So yeah, I think movies like that can be really interesting. I think Mank, for example, is one where it's, about the screenwriter of Citizen Kane. And, it's not somebody that if you were to think about it, like not necessarily, that's not the story about Citizen Kane that I would want to hear. Mm-hmm. Like I'd be interested in hearing about Orson Welles and how he came to make that movie. But hearing about Mankiewicz, it's like, oh, so there's this whole other story that I never even thought about. And yeah, it's just the stories that you can tell, they're fascinating, and it really piques people's interest when you wouldn't expect it.
What do you think we're going to see this year at the Oscars?
So this upcoming one,
yeah.
I don't know. it's tricky because
it's going to be a lot of streamed movies that we're going to be seeing the awards go to again.
I think more than likely you'll see the streaming titles kind of take control. There were a lot of really great releases from Netflix: The Trial of the Chicago 7, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank. These are movies that are really, really powerful, and they were bought by Netflix before this pandemic hit. So it was like they were already going to hit this streaming giant, and Netflix already had an opportunity to really rule awards season before there was ever the idea that this was going to be a very different year. But I think those are ones that you're looking at where they're going to have quite the upper hand when it comes to winning the awards. I think there are some that hit theaters that are still going to be like, Minari, which is a fantastic movie. I think you're going to see a supporting actress win for the actress from that, because she just, she became everybody's grandma. Like you look at her and it's like you remember, I remember spending time with my grandma. And if I could, I would just reach out and tell her how much she meant to me, because that's what that character, restores in you. So I think you're going to kind of see it spread out a little bit, but it's so weird because this year is so different. So yeah, I do think primarily Netflix really has the upper hand here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah. In the meantime, though, do you think that with Netflix and the streaming and so forth, that more mainstream America has been able to see quality Oscar-worthy?
Yes. Because
sometimes the nominations come out and the majority of us that live here in the Midwest are going, never heard of it.
What's that movie? I've never heard of this movie. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that...
if there's a positive to it, because a lot of people in Hollywood hate it.
Yeah. And with this year being as bizarre, for lack of a better word, as it was, it did present the opportunity to get these movies out to audiences in a different way where, typically... The Oscars are in March, usually, into February, beginning of March. And a lot of the movies that are nominated for awards won't even come here until, sometimes even a week before the Oscars, if not afterwards. So I think it's like in certain areas, we wouldn't have the opportunity to see these movies. So I think it really does open things up a bit where, when Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, things like that are the ones that have these movies available. It makes it so it's like, oh, well, I've heard this movie's good. And instead of having to wait for it to see it, I can just sit down on my couch, plop it on right now. And then I can, you might lose a little bit of the cinematic experience, but at the same time, if it's good, you're going to be hooked on it no matter what.
Yeah, and still have the opportunity to see it again without spending $10.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I miss theater popcorn.
Oh yeah, popcorn. Just the smell of a movie theater, that's the thing. Oh.
Have you been in the state?
No, I haven't yet. I've had shot number 2. I'm waiting for it to simmer a little bit, and once it does, I'm going to be there.
You're in there.
Yeah, I'm excited
because I've heard rumors the popcorn is excellent.
Yeah,
and you can get a beer now too.
Ooh, This is going to be a good time.
Makes movies even better, doesn't
Right?
it?
Yeah, even the bad ones.
So speaking of the state,
Sure.
how's that feel as a movie buff aficionado that we've got this classic old broad of a theater in there again?
It's so awesome. Like, it's the kind of thing where for me, it's painful that I haven't had a chance to be there yet, because it's so much my jam. Like, it's exactly what I want. I want to be there. I want to be able to watch these older movies on a big screen, with people getting to appreciate them that maybe have never seen them for the first time, or maybe have loved them but have never gotten to see them on a big screen. Like, it's so cool to have this one theater with one screen dedicated to really showcasing these movies. And I think that they're playing older titles, it opens up an appreciation to movies that I almost feel like we're kind of taking for granted these days, because you want to constantly pump a new product. Like, I want to watch a Marvel movie, I want to watch a DC movie. And then you forget about these other movies that have come before that have really meant so much to people. Like this past Easter weekend, they played Jesus Christ Superstar, which is a fantastic movie, great musical. And I think that not as many people know about it. And I don't think so many people had a chance to see it until maybe something like this pops up and they can. So I love that the state has the opportunity to do that. Like, it makes my movie-loving heart just pound.
Well, I'm enjoying the fact that it's such a great format of what they've done with it.
Yeah.
It's not that we get a movie in and it's there for 1 weekend or 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
Things switch around.
Yeah.
So you've got, maybe a little more mature type movie can be shown a little later in the evening.
Right.
And on a Saturday afternoon, you might see something great for the kids.
Yeah.
And I just love the way that they're maneuvering everything and juxtapositioning that.
It makes it so everybody can see something and enjoy something. They had The Wiz here as well. Yeah. The Wiz is delightful. Just a joyous movie. Both of these movies are musicals that I've talked about, and I'm someone that I'm not really the biggest musical fan, but there are the ones that I love. I scream from the rafters that I love them.
Yeah, and at least respect them if nothing else.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But they'll play The Wiz in the morning, and then in the evening it'll be something, Mad Max or something like that. Like, these movies that are just so different. But it opens it up to everybody. Everybody can see something. Everybody can find something that they love. And it's so awesome that we have that here, because this is something that you would see, Minneapolis, Omaha, bigger city. We're bringing something like that to, Sioux Falls isn't a small city, but on the grand scheme of things, compared to those bigger cities, it's a much smaller metro area. And to be able to have something like that they have there, it's awesome.
Well, see, that's the thing that I always got jealous about when I was in Omaha sometime, or I was up in the Twin Cities, like you said, and you'd go past those small theaters and they were running a Hitchcock festival or something. Yep. It's like, why can't we have that?
Like, wow, what would it take for us to get to have Vertigo playing in a movie theater here, or Psycho, North by Northwest? And they went and did it. And it's great. And it makes me really excited about what else they can bring here, what the other possibilities are. So I'm on cloud nine waiting to see what else we get around town.
Well, it's funny, North by Northwest, because how could you not have that one line referencing this state? I'd like a one-way ticket to Rapid City, South Dakota.
From the great Cary Grant, who just likes to enjoy every single syllable of the line.
That's for sure. All right. Well, we're running out of time, but we still have time to cover a few things. But coming up later in the show is John Gaskins from the Sioux Falls Canaries.
Oh, excellent.
And so I'm sure that some baseball movies will come up, and I love baseball movies.
Yes.
What's your top in that? Maybe... Because I kind of sort things differently.
Yeah.
Because obviously there are the go-to default movies.
Sure.
If Field of Dreams comes on somewhere, it could be 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Yep.
All started at that point. And watch the rest of
Just
it.
let it roll.
Yeah.
Yep. Field of Dreams is one for me. Like you said, that it's on that list of movies. My list of movies is exceptionally long of movies that I can watch that'll make me cry. Like I'm the person that's like,
Dad,
I'll cry at everything.
You want to have a catch?
Oh, just stop, Dave. No. League of Their Own, is great.
That's amazing.
The original Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
I really like, we've talked about Field of Dreams, and we could even mention Bull Durham in that too.
True.
These Kevin Costner baseball movies. I really like For Love of the Game.
Mine too.
Right?
Oh my
It's
Lord,
so
what a great
good.
movie.
Like, this is a movie that came out in 1999, which is really one of the best years for movies. Just a whole slew of great movies came out in 99. And here you have this baseball movie starring Kevin Costner. John C. Reilly is in it playing the catcher. Kelly Preston plays his girlfriend in that movie. Directed by Sam Raimi, who directed Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. And it's this beautiful baseball movie about a guy who's walking away from his career, and it's basically his last game. It's not to ruin the movie, but it's a perfect game. And it is just it's so, like, the way the movie plays out, you watch it inning by inning, but it also flashes back to his life and his relationship and rising up as a baseball player. And it's just so, I don't know, the way that it hits you is just perfect. Like, I think For Love of the Game is a terribly underrated baseball movie.
Exactly. And it also has another great line in that one. Vin Scully, a real life broadcaster.
Yeah.
Played the broadcaster of that game.
Sure.
And Vin was always known for painting great pictures and so forth. Well, the last game, Kevin Costner's character was named Billy Chapel.
Yes.
And the last game was at Yankee Stadium. And so he's on the Detroit Tigers facing the Yankees. And at the end, after the perfect game, Vin Scully's line is, "In the cathedral that is Yankee Stadium, today it's a chapel." Just absolutely loved it.
Nails it.
Yeah.
Nails it.
Such fun.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I think it was one that I did a podcast a couple weeks ago with one of my friends from, a couple of my friends from college have been on, my first college go-round, high school and college, and we would just watch movies all the time, and some of the movies that would play over and over and over and over and over, and one of them was Rounders, but For Love of the Game was another one that it just played over and over and over, and it became this movie that we all just loved, and it's the perfect baseball movie. It sums up everything. Field of Dreams is great, Bull Durham's great, League of Their Own is great, but there's something about For Love of the Game that really solidifies the love of baseball, the love of romantic love for another person, love of being a family man because of the relationship between Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston's daughter in that movie. Great stuff. Great
That's
stuff.
for sure. I could talk an hour on that movie alone.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have you on and you can.
Well, we might do that. All right. So speaking of your podcast, when and where can we hear it?
Yeah, so you can find it's under Fat Dude Digs Flicks. There are two different shows that I run. There's Let's Talk About, which is basically the interview show where we talk about a person's life and talk about a movie that they choose. Then there's also the Criterion Break with Andy and Blake, which is where I discuss the Criterion Collection, which are really snobby movies with my buddy Blake Ginnathan. And you can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio. Typically, new episodes will drop on Tuesday afternoons, and we call it Taco Tuesday.
Excellent. I hear a sponsorship out there.
Right. That's, send any taco place my way.
Well, normally I end up with two questions, but basically one of them has been the whole program so far.
Sure.
Because normally I say, when you're not out entertaining, how you like to be entertained.
Yeah.
We think we've got the answer to that already.
Yeah, I like movies.
All right. So
just a little bit.
Beyond that, any other hobbies?
I love spending time with my animals. We have a household full of animals, a dog, 3 cats, and they rule the roost, and it's nice just being able to inhabit space with them. They're very cute, and they're the most recent cat that we adopted started off as probably questioned my my meaning of existence, but over time he's become just the best. So yeah, it's getting to spend time with my animals.
Excellent.
I love them. My girlfriend and my animals were just. It's a great house. Like, I love being able to go home to everybody at the end of each day. I'm very happy.
Awesome. Andy Heller, Thank you so much for spending time on the Dave Holly Hour so we could talk about movies.
Thank you.
Loved
you
it,
so
man.
much.
You will be a repeat customer.
Ooh, I would love it.
All right. And we'll be back with more, and we'll talk some baseball movies probably, when John Gaskins from the Sioux Falls Canaries joins us next on the Dave Holly Hour. Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
Once upon a time, a broadcaster and columnist. Now, a podcaster and blogger. Either way, the mirth and merriment continue with Dave Holly.
Welcome back to the Dave Holly Hour, everybody. I tell you what, it is always a pleasure on Thursdays to be talking with not just people that entertain, but also people that schedule the entertainment, make sure that it goes off without a hitch, and they also talking about it because, he's a former sportscaster here in town, but he's also the head of the Sioux Falls Canaries social media. So that makes you, John Gaskins, like the man that is in charge of entertaining people online.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
It works well.
Although we have a very entertaining guy that's coming in to take over for that part as I segue into nothing but getting the ballpark ready for the entertainment, the 56 shows, not games.
That's right.
Shows that we will be having this summer at the ballpark.
Well, that term works well since, if you make it to the majors, they call it the show.
They do call it the show, and that's what it is, a show. Baseball is not enough to get people to baseball games anymore. There's a select few. Our season ticket holders, they're there for the baseball. They don't care what themes and nights and parties we're throwing and any bells and whistles, but we're going to have many, and I'm guessing that's what we're going to talk about. But they're there for green grass and cold beer, and in fact, one 75-year-old gentleman today was in the office looking forward to seeing all the pretty ladies. He makes sure he sits one row or two rows up from the concourse aisle. He doesn't want to sit in those cushy, comfy greenback seats. Oh no, he wants to sit in the first or second row
for the viewing.
Yes, yes. So I got a kick out of that. We love our fans. So. Yeah, and but since you mentioned the social media, it's kind of I'm helping a guy named Joey Zanaboni take over for that.
Oh, classic name.
He's our new play-by-play announcer, but still being in charge of the social media. I made sure to last week at our announcement, our unveiling of our new radio play-by-play announcer, who's also our director of media relations, to get everybody ready to ride the Zanaboni.
Yes.
Of course. And he is a nutball, and he intends to be one. And it's a good fit for what we have coming up with new ownership and the kind of a new attitude and a new show at our games. But on the radio and in our social media, Joey... I can't do him justice. You're just going to have to check. I think I showed it to you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Or did you see it?
I have an inkling of what the man can do now.
He is unlike anything you have ever heard. I'll do a quick impression. Like his team, he called baseball for Johnson County, Tennessee, a team a couple of years ago, and they won the title. And his title call was something to the effect of, he called the final out, and then he said, "Shave me! Shave me like a domesticated sea bass," because I guess he's really hairy, and he's got a lot of just bizarre out there pop culture references, and he'll be great. But so I just wanted to clarify that I have been handling that for basically since July, but I'm in charge of the show now.
The show now,
Yeah.
Okay. When you said he's quite hairy, but speaking of hairy,
Yes,
Harry Canary.
What a transition! You're a professional.
How about it?
Yes.
In fact, did I hear that there was a sighting recently in T?
Out and about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of Harry Canary and his brother.
Yes, never knew Harry Canary had a brother, but
Nor did
apparently
I.
he does.
Wow.
Yeah, and his
Gary?
name, Gary Canary.
Gary
You are
Canary.
correct. So, yeah, it was quite a night over there at the Sky Lounge and Tea because Harry walked into the place and what do you know? They had baseball trivia going on. Well, what perfect timing. And, Harry showed up later in the trivia contest when people were a little more imbibed and,
Yeah.
perhaps they needed a little pick-me-up to the festivities.
Yeah.
So, Harry walked in there and introduced himself. And a little bit later on, Harry and his brother Gary were reunited. It was quite tearful.
It was.
It was dramatic and tearful.
Very much so.
That's the stuff that reality television can't make up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There will be documentaries about it someday.
The real Canaries
Yes.
of Sioux Falls.
So after the tearful embrace and reuniting, unscripted, just chance encounter at the Sky Lounge and Tea, Harry Carey and his brother Gary saying, take me out to the ball game
garden.
with the entire bar.
Yeah, it
quite
was.
a moment.
It was a great time.
Yes,
I was happy to be there to witness it.
I was too.
Yeah.
And you can see the video as you can see so many other clever and entertaining videos. Many of Harry Canary on the Canaries Twitter website at Canaries.
Yeah, but Harry will still be in the ballpark
Yes.
almost every night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. At least to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Correct.
If nothing else,
There
okay.
were rumors and there were rumors and also possibilities, discussions about Harry being the every night host and MC, and that still might happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a thought from those who control the inner workings of the Canaries entertainment staff that perhaps Harry is better in small doses, and maybe for opening night, and there is going to be a Harry Canary bobblehead night, which is like the 10th most exciting or fascinating night that we'll have. But we will have a Harry Carey
will
bobblehead
not miss
night.
that one.
Yes, well,
Cannot.
yeah. I just hope Gary, who looks a lot like Santa Claus, will be there on Christmas in July.
Well, I think so.
Okay.
I was talking to him afterwards
Okay,
when the
yes.
two of you sang,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he figured he could probably make
It'd
that.
be great to have Gary Canary at some games
Yeah.
so Harry and Gary can sing some duets.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. So you have yourself in the midst of putting together a full 56-game home game schedule filled with entertainment.
Yeah. No pressure.
Lots of themes. What's it going to take, and how are we going to get it done?
It's going to take a lot of money. A lot of creativity and some money. I'll roll out some things. Yes, in a moment. But the first thing that should be brought up is we have new ownership, and that was the team was just bought about a month ago, and it was announced maybe a week after they officially bought the team. These are two guys about my age. I'm 42, out of the Twin Cities. They are entrepreneurs who own several businesses. They're nobody anybody would ever hear of. This is their first pro sports team they have owned, and they are just over the moon and back.
They're giddy.
Head over heels. As still part of the directing the media and social media, I followed them around with my state-of-the-art cell phone camera as they were looking at the ballpark, walking around the ballpark for the first time. I mean, they bought the team without having physically been here, so when I walked around with them in the ballpark, the way they were pointing and animatedly gesturing about what they want to do here and what they want to do there, and envisioning, our full crowds and happy people and a brand new video board out in center field. It was like watching two kids going to Disneyland for the first time, because they have dreamed about it since they were in college. This is the realization of a 20-year-old dream for them to own a baseball team. One of them was born in Sioux Falls and his family here, so it's like a second home coming for them. But I think, the team was up for sale last fall. It was announced. And I think there's been some concern that what's the future of the Canaries and baseball in Sioux Falls? And, well, these guys they're locked and loaded and ready to go. And there is going to be a new video board. I mean, they've already put down $500,000.
Oh.
We're going to have a new video board out there that is the The old scoreboard's still out there, but most of it will be replaced by a giant digital video board, the size of the same board you'll see at the St. Paul Saints state-of-the-art stadium in downtown St. Paul. And they're the gold standard of everything minor league baseball. A lot of things we'll try to emulate, especially with the weirdness and the wonderment of the entertainment of our games. But, these guys are starting right there with a tangible financial throwdown. $500,000. Here's a new video board to enhance the experience of people when they come out to the Birdcage.
All right. That's obviously going to add a lot because you'll be able to do a lot of that,
so much more. Yeah. We're going to have all kinds of between innings entertainment, and some of it, though, the whole stadium can't see the way baseball stadiums are configured. Our stage is usually the first base dugout, but every now and then, Harry Canary would probably like to roam to the party deck to hang out with all the partiers on the party deck. How we doing, party deck? And, it's good to have a camera to follow them around and the big screen to show the whole stadium what's going on when you're walking around. And we're going to have so many different kinds of theme nights, as we said. And in the middle of the week, we're going to have, basically Tuesday night's going to be Boomer Tuesdays for baby boomers. Because those are the most likely people to come out to a baseball game on a Tuesday night. Let's not kid ourselves.
Sure.
Right. And Wednesday nights are going to be 80s Wednesdays. And just for those, before we get into our big promotional nights, we're going to be celebrating some of the best 70s TV shows and some of the best 80s movies. And so, we want to show some clips. We want to have some fun.
Right.
So people are just going to be able to enjoy the game more and our between innings entertainment to see what we're doing by having a video board out there. It's going to mean a lot. Yeah. And again, it's going to be part of it takes more than baseball to get people to a baseball game thing.
True.
Yeah.
And you've got to be feeling great about this because, you basically just kind of walked in the Canaries a year ago after losing your position as a full-time radio person here in town. And it was something for you to do. Yeah, the pandemic. Yeah, that's right. That's what we call it.
Pandemic swept me away.
Yeah. And so at that time, things were strange regardless.
Very strange.
And you had to come up with promotions and so forth. It was kind of a roll of the dice the whole season, no matter what you did.
Well, nobody really knew the team was playing. Some people did. You had to really be paying attention, though. At first they decided not to have the season. It usually starts in mid-May, and we're right back to a full 100-game schedule starting May 18th, 56 home games at the Birdcage on May 18th. But yeah, we had a 60-game schedule, and the season was off. Then it was on. Everything's so fluid in the pandemic that, we'll have the season, but only 6 of the 12 teams in the league were able to participate or wanted to participate.
In fact, you had roommates basically for a while.
The St. Paul Saints, the gold standard of it all. As we know, Minnesota had a totally different outlook on public policy when it came to the pandemic in the beginning and still now. And so they couldn't do anything there. So the St. Paul Saints brought their show to our ballpark. And that was a lot of fun because even though it was very bare bones compared to what they usually have with their staff and their usher-tainers, they didn't have their usher-tainers. But they still brought their PA announcer and their bright people in the front office. And we got a little bit of a taste of, some baseball show business. But yeah, we had to share our stadium with the Saints for the first month, and there were only 6 teams in the league. That actually made the talent in the league 1,000 times better than it usually is because there was no affiliated minor league baseball. So guys who were used to playing, like, say, for the Omaha Royals or the Iowa Cubs at the level just below the major leagues, those teams weren't playing. So some of the teams in our league were able to gobble up these guys that would not normally be playing in our league. And so the baseball was excellent. But yeah, it was hard to get the word out. We could only do so much. The season started late, and not everybody knew that. The former mayor of Sioux, I had lunch with Mike Huther 2 days before opening day, and I told him I hadn't quite said yes to the Canaries to help them. And part of eating lunch with him was to decide if I wanted to take this job with the Canaries. And he was like, are they going to have a season? I'm like, Mike, yes, it starts tomorrow. So that we battled that. But the good news is full 100-game season, we have plenty of time, like now, a month ahead of time, to get the word out. because there's a lot of things we want to do at the park, and a lot of it we would love to involve your listeners, the arts and entertainment community of Sioux Falls.
That's right. We talk about it, that this is an arts and entertainment show, but we do have people in the sports entertainment business on as well, because it is entertainment.
Yeah.
The sports themselves at this level will be.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, baseball in and of itself does not grow or pull in a crowd the way that it once did. So it has to be entertaining. I mean, you've got you've already referred to it as 56 shows that you're going to be putting on.
Yes.
So that's a great thing. And the other thing I figured we would probably touch on that part a little bit anyway. And the thing that I want to bring about is that, the people that go to Canaries games also have kids in dance. They know people that are involved in arts and entertainment in other ways.
Yes.
We all support each other. Yeah. And that's one way that we got through the pandemic.
Exactly.
Is the fact that we supported each other and we found ways to continue to bring things to our community.
Well, the good news is we're coming out of it. There are all kinds of differing viewpoints on how close to back to normal we are or should be, but the reality is we're going to be at full capacity this summer. We're going to have our staffers masked, and we're going to have a special section devoted to people who want to socially distance, the same way the Stampede are doing. The Stampede got 10,000 for Wiener Dog Night, just like they always do. They're rocking and rolling, but we'll be outdoors in the humidity where supposedly I'll play Mr. Wizard for 5 seconds here, or Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's a lot harder to spread when things get hotter and more humid, and you're outdoors. I think most people understand that and know that. And so we're going to be able to have as many people as we want there, and staff will be masked, at least for the time being. Fluid, obviously, because things change by the numbers. So, maybe we'll get to the point where we don't, who knows? But we're going to do things to make everybody feel safe, but it's going to be back to a normal show. So back to your point of how to me, that was the absolute worst thing about the pandemic was no live music, no live shows. Artists can't get, yes, you can do, these are creative people, obviously, so you make it work virtually through any sort of way you can do a play or a musical performance, and that's great, but it does not compare to being in front of people. Well, we have quite a stage. We have potentially 4,000 people coming to our games, and usually at least 1,000, even on the weeknights. We want, first of all, that is a place where it should be a gathering place of the entire community of Sioux Falls, all ages, 8 to 80. Our job is to make sure between everybody those ages and beyond are going to have a good time. It's not easy, but we think we can do it. We want it to be a show. We want to transport you. We want you to get the same delight and satisfaction and wonderment out of going to our games as you would, a great musical performance, a great play, and a night at the comedy, going to see stand-up comedy. And we want the performers of this town to be a part of it. We want anybody who can sing, anybody who can dance, anybody who can play an instrument or sing to be a part of our show. And we're absolutely dead serious. We need your help. Harry Canary cannot do it alone.
Well, he's old for one thing.
What's that?
He's old for one thing.
For one thing, yes. Neil Diamond's nephew, Doug, who sings Sweet Caroline in the middle of the game, cannot do it alone. I've got about 30 other characters I plan on playing who are all basically going to be me in a costume, singing their songs poorly, like Dewey Lewis and Nick Jagger and Vanilla Nice and Claude McCartney and Brent Michaels, not Brett, Dick Ocasek and Burt Cobain. I can't, that's part of the fun for me. I was, like a lot of your listeners, a theater kid, but I went into broadcasting. I've been doing TV and radio my whole life. And so this job that the Canaries gave me allowed me to actually have a stage and have a theater again. And we didn't have as big a crowds as we usually do or we would like because of the pandemic. But it was intoxicating, I'm not going to lie. But now as the director of entertainment, I know this thing cannot survive with me alone. That's the entertainment. We want, whether you could do it every game or half the games or just one night. Our doors are open, and we want to find a way to entertain the people of Sioux Falls between the innings of these baseball games.
Well, I think there's such a great possibility of cross promotion for people too. You know, if somebody, there's so many groups that do have things even throughout the summer,
right,
as part of their regular season.
Yeah.
And, they could be at a Canaries game a week before, and, the whole bit could be the fact that, X theater company has this coming up next week. Here's a snippet of what you might see. And then a couple of people do a bit of dialogue and so forth. And
we'll totally do that. We've already locked in Real Big Fish. I'm thinking of the band from the ska band from the 90s. Too Drunk to Fish. Too Drunk to Fish. Old radio buddy of mine, Big Scott Allen, still on the radio, kicking it 6 states wide on the big stick, 570 WNAX. The home of the Twins and the Jackrabbits. He's in a 2-man band that plays cover tunes, and they don't pretend to be anything else, but they're really fun. They can play pretty much any song you ask them to. They go to bars all over town, Fridays and Saturday nights.
And then they even play there too.
What's that?
And then they even play there too.
Play. So they're
Hang on. That deserves one of these. Here we go. There we go. Got the ring shot in.
So they're going to be a house band of ours for at least several games, and of course, when they do play between innings, we'll make sure our PA guy Randy Preston mentions you can see Too Drunk to Fish tomorrow night at McNally's, or next week at the Sandbar, whatever. Yes, and we would like to think that if you come and perform at our ballpark at some point in your performance down the road at a bar or a theater in town some night, that you'll gladly mention the Canaries and what a blast it is to be outdoors at Canaries games this summer.
All right. So what are some of the other themes that are new?
By the way, I meant to blast out of the gate with some of these, and here we are 20 minutes into it, but that's fine. That's my fault. That is my fault.
You have a great idea of time. That was 20 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yes. Well, I have. That's from being in radio and knowing usually how long is too long. Well, let's kick things off because our tone setter is going to be something that ties into our new ownership. We're going to have a lot of big, funny, weird, stupid, goofy, extravagant nights. But our first big night, we have 8 Fridays, and Fridays are always our big shows. That we have free fireworks after the game, and so people will go to Friday nights just for the fireworks. But while we got them there, we want to give you a good show. But Friday, May 21st is going to be first responder night. So, we're going to have free or discounted admission. We haven't decided on specifics yet, but you'll be helped out in getting in the door if you're police, firemen, EMTs, first responders. We want to honor them, so we plan on doing something special before the game that will be visually stimulating. We'll put it that way.
Especially with a new board.
Yes, especially with the new board. So, these new owners really want to be a part of the community here in Sioux Falls. They want to give back to the community financially and with their hearts, and but they also want to. This is obviously every year's a big year for first responders, but this has been a big past year, obviously. So it's a no-brainer. And we thought about doing this on our opening night on Tuesday, May 18th, but we said no. We know we're going to get a bigger crowd on a Friday. Fireworks are going to be on a Friday. It all fits. So that leads it off. But legalized pot night, I am very looking forward to. None of these dates are set beyond first responder night, but at some point we're going to have a legalized pot night because it's literally the buzz about the state. And
I sense puns all night long.
Yeah, it's a big buzz topic across this state. And this summer we might know if you and I might be able to smoke a little reefer before we do, legally.
Yeah,
before we do this podcast.
Will there be weeds out in the outfield?
Well, we hope not. That's not good for our image as
as a
for our agriculture. But you will have a chance to win some free pot. We will. It will be the grand prize will be a big pot of cash.
There we go.
Right, and also we might have some free pot for the first 500 fans. As in, we might have some nice little potted plants for you.
Potted plants.
Yes. So, yes, it's a night of puns. It's the kind of pot that, for now, is the only legal pot we have.
Exactly.
It's legalized pot night. We plan it. Well, Christmas in July is going to obviously be the big knockout. We've had it before, but with with a certain special someone as Santa Claus.
Very certain special.
Yeah. We'll have that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off night. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was that?
Ferris Bueller.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my.
Yeah. We're going to go to town with that one.
That's a go-to movie if there ever was one.
We're really going to hone in on the movies this year, more on Wednesday nights and some Thursday nights, but there's a lot of special anniversaries for a lot of movies out there. So we're going to commemorate those. I guess I'll just dive into those. Happy Gilmore 25th anniversary. Ferris Bueller's Day Off 35th anniversary. Bad News Bears is 45 years old, wow. So we'll have a night devoted to that. Buttermaker bobbleheads are in the realm of possibility for that. What else for the anniversaries? What do we have here? I've got my sheet right with Top Gun 35th, MTV's launch 40th. So we'll have an MTV sort of night. And we appreciate bacon, so we'll have a bacon appreciation night. Freaky Friday, August the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Oh, we have one of those
That
again.
will commemorate the 25th anniversary of Scream. That'll basically be Halloween in August. And what we're going to do with a lot of these nights is, yes, we supposedly, and I wholeheartedly believe it with this new ownership, they've already shown they're breaking out a new budget with the $500,000 video board. We want our staff to be costumed. We want people to come into the ballpark and think they're going to a show. So we're going to encourage, and I hope it passes through for nights like Star Wars night. Yes, you're gonna see our staff dressed as Skywalker and Chewbacca and Darth Vader and Yoda and all the. But we want you, the fans, yes, to come
to play along,
costumed,
yeah.
And there will hopefully probably be free and discounted admission to people who play along and participate. We want the whole we want the whole stadium, we want the whole crowd, we want the fans to not just be a part of the show, but be the show along with us. So that's because, again, you go to the park, you're going to have a good time, you're going to have a show. Seinfeld night.
What's up with that?
Hey, what is the deal? I think Jerry Seinfeld's cousin, might have to be the host that night. Brockmeyer, Big Lebowski.
Oh, Brockmeyer.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we got to have a Jim Brockmeyer night at the ballpark. So if you have a big, ugly jacket, any ugly jacket, you'll get into the park at a lesser rate. I kind of sounded like Casey Kasem there. Casey,
long distance dedication.
I got to write this down because obviously I have sheets of paper.
A new idea just came to him.
Casey Kasem has to be an MC.
And you're going to have long distance dedications. First to third.
That would have been so appropriate in 2020, the long distance dedications. Well, here's another thing that's up in the air is when Neil Diamond's nephew Doug sings Sweet Caroline, and we're moving that to mid-fifth inning from mid-sixth. Not that that's a big detail, but last year we were, because of the pandemic, we were singing Hands, not touching hands, not touching me, not touching you. Well, I don't know. I mean, that was a hit, but I think I don't know. You can tell me. We can have a meeting about this afterwards. But
okay.
If we're gonna keep it the COVID lyrics on that one. All right. So I've got most of the big ones out of the way. We want to unite sports fans as well. We had a Jackrabbit night last year. It was one of our best nights. Mm-hmm. It was probably our second best night after our opening night when it came to attendance and energy. I don't know if you know this, but SDSU fans like to drink a beer or two,
slightly,
and show off.
I worked in Brookings for a while.
You did, yes. If you've ever been to the Summit League basketball tournament, that's all you need to see. You don't have to go. You don't have to even go up to Brookings for a game. So that went well, and not an original theme. Major and minor league baseball teams all over the place do it, but it's a great chance to congregate people because besides maybe the tailgate lot of Memorial Stadium in Lincoln or Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, what better, bigger of a place in Sioux Falls is there for Hawkeye fans or Husker fans to get together than a Canaries game.
Exactly.
For those games, we hopefully plan on rolling out entertainment and perhaps a past Husker or Hawkeye or Jackrabbit or USD star to throw out first pitches, sign autographs before games. When it comes to Hawkeye night, I will tell you, because you grew up in Rock Rapids,
That
right?
I did, yes.
Are there a few Hawkeye fans there?
Several.
Okay. Well, let's just get the whole town of Rock Rapids here. And because I have a buddy who's an Iowa fan in Rock Rapids, but a gentleman who calls himself Hawkeye Elvis. Oh, you've heard of him?
I've heard of Hawkeye Elvis.
Is that because I told you about this already, or you've already heard of him?
No, I had already heard of Hawkeye Elvis.
Yeah. So I mean, Hawkeye Elvis told me what night he could be here, and so that the whole basis is off of him. I don't care if we have 2 Hawkeye fans there that night. Hawkeye Elvis is entertaining that night. So even if that doesn't become Hawkeye night, it can become Elvis night, and we'll have Hawkeye Elvis entertain. I cannot wait. So those are some of the things we're doing, and as I mentioned, the big nights are Fridays and Saturdays because
free fireworks again, like you mentioned earlier.
Free fireworks on Fridays, and like our Friday stuff is going to be legalized pot, first responder, Mr. South Dakota night. We're going to have a male beauty pageant.
Yes.
We're going to turn the beauty pageants that we're normally used to seeing up on their heads, and I mean,
and during the interview, will they be allowed to say, "and world peace"?
Yeah, we hope so, yes. That there will be, there's probably going to be about 4 portions of this competition. We'd like to think we're going to, we'll make it worth anybody's while to enter this contest and narrow it down to 4 finalists before the evening starts. It'll be somewhat of a social media thing, craze, hopefully. And, but yeah, we're looking for, what else can we say? We're looking for healthy, good-looking men who look good in a tight tank top because they will get a free one if they enter the contest. And we will have Canaries tank tops on sale, discounted. And, we'll have a push-up / bench press / bicep curl contest and a little competition running around the bases, shotgunning a beer and then running around the bases again. And, of course, a Q&A, and, of course, the swimsuit competition at the end, which will, be, I would guess, a big flex off. Mm-hmm. So that's Mr. South Dakota night, and we think that will be a hit with everybody.
Excellent.
The guys will love it. The girls love it. The gay guys will love it. I'm sure the gay girls will love it, too. Yeah. But then Tuesday and Wednesday nights, we're going to do Boomer Tuesdays, 50 and over specials. For now, you can get season tickets if you're 50 or over, $85 for the entire season.
What?
56 games, $85.
I did not know that last Friday.
For our upper session, well, now you do. Yes. $85 for the upper bowl, $105 for the lower bowl. I think these are for Tuesday night games only. So
okay.
Well,
I thought when you said season tickets, I was like, what?
We'll discuss this with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll discuss this with you.
We'll discuss. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's a Tuesday special. $105 for the season for the lower bowl. But, yeah, I mean, 60s and 70s music. And, we're going to celebrate shows from the Boomer era. We'll have a Golden Girls night, and we will definitely have a discount for these 50 and over women that come into the ballpark that night. We'll celebrate Happy Days, MASH, Taxi, Mary Tyler Moore, Cheers.
Taxi.
Cheers, Bob Newhart, and Newhart, of course, because he had shows in the 70s and 80s. Three's Company, WKRP. Wednesday nights, we're going to honor 80s movies. So, because, again, Wednesdays will be 80s night. We're looking to put together some sort of deal that incorporates the number 8 with food and drink specials. There's part of me that wishes we were doing this podcast about 3 weeks from now because we will have locked down some of our exact deals because we know that also gets people into the park. But Major League, Breakfast Club, Goonies, Top Gun's 35th anniversary, Ghostbusters, Spaceballs, Dirty Dancing, all of those will be features of our evenings on Wednesdays at the ballpark. So
excellent. Yeah. Lots of fun stuff ahead for the summer.
Yeah.
Now, I did promise that, we had Andy Heller on the show earlier talking all about movies.
Yes.
Brought up some baseball movies.
Yeah.
What's your go-to baseball movie?
Major League. Yeah, it's. I've done this segment on Sports Talk Radio at Timer 5.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure. Just because it combines smart, witty, laugh out loud comedy with a decently realistic baseball. Not that I put a huge premium on the quality of the athleticism of these actors or the way they put together. Because sports movies can be tough because the final scene is always a game.
Right.
And the protagonist team always wins the game and whatever. I'd go with Major League. There's too many great one-liners from that. You?
Actually, I've got a few that are up there.
Okay.
My absolute
Are we going sports
favorite,
or baseball? Just baseball movies? Okay,
just
go ahead.
baseball movies.
All right.
Mine is actually For Love of the Game.
All right.
Kevin Costner.
Wow.
And
I haven't seen it.
Haven't you?
No.
Oh, it's a neat story. I'll pass it along because it allows me to do a Vin Scully line.
Okay.
Kevin Costner's character's name is Billy Chappell.
Yeah.
He's a pitcher. It's the last game of the last regular season game of the year. He pitches for Detroit. They are at the Yankees. Afternoon game. And he's contemplating whether to retire and be traded, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the way the show moves along is that they show him pitching, and then they show a clip going back to part of his life throughout this time frame that he's been in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And Kelly Preston plays his love interest, and there's some great stuff that they do along the line of a romance movie while doing a very serious baseball movie at the same time.
Yeah.
And he ends up throwing a perfect game.
Uh-huh. Gee, thanks for ruining the end for me, Dave.
No, don't worry about that part. But the best part, or at least I shouldn't say the best part, but one of my favorite lines in it is you've got Vin Scully being the broadcaster of the game. And remember...
The Vin Scully? Not so...
The Vin Scully.
Nice.
And... remember that the character's name is Billy Chappell.
Yeah.
And it's at Yankee Stadium. And Vin's line is, in the cathedral that is Yankee Stadium, today it's a chapel. Yeah. But there's a lot of neat stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But that's a series. But, otherwise Major League is a very good, probably in terms of the comedy.
Yeah, look, I'm more of a comedy guy, so that's just me.
But Bull Durham's up there, though, too.
Yeah, Bull Durham. I think Bull Durham was my number 2.
Yeah.
I think it was. I'm trying to... I'm trying to go back to this. This was something that I did about 5 years ago, and every summer on some lazy summer's day where there's absolutely zero sports going on, we would replay this bit me and Matt Zimmer, the sports writer for the Argus Leader, did. I mean, we spent a good 45 minutes on breaking down our top 5. We spent like 8 minutes a movie. Bull Durham, I think Field of Dreams is in my top 5.
Oh, yeah.
It's in most people's top 5s. Give me some others.
Natural.
Natural
League of Their Own?
did not make it for me. And
I'm one of those that did.
And it's a great one. It barely missed the cut, but I am more of a League of Their Own type of guy.
Great movie.
I am more of a Bad News Bears type of guy. I mean, you see, I go more just a little bit for the funny, cynical stuff, as opposed to the kind of waxing poetic, mushy stuff. Not that, because The Natural and Field of Dreams and
what about
and I'm sure For the Love of the Game were all really well done.
Yeah. What about Moneyball?
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not make my top 5, but
it's not one that it's not top of mind awareness.
Yeah.
But a good movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we leaving any out? Have we dissed anybody? Have we?
Oh, I'm sure we have.
I'm sure we have
a lot of them, but just
yeah.
Because you can even go back to original early ones like Damn Yankees. It's a must see for you. It's black. It's black and white.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's worth the watch. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
So
you mentioning Vin Scully reminded me, like that guy, and I'm stealing from Colin Cowherd here, another sports talk host, but it's like the game comes to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he makes it seem like everything that's happening on the field is just to circle back to it starts with his calling of the game. He's that masterful, and he'll just, and he could adjust to anything. So, there's a beach ball on the field right now as some of the grounds crew is coming to remove the beach ball. The beach ball was invented by a good friend of mine, Eugene Eugene Sartelli in 1925 in Gary, Indiana. He invented the beach ball. Quite ironic that someone in Gary, Indiana would invent the beach ball. It's like, and then like the beach ball gets cleared off the field just as his story is ending. Like it's the perfect amount of time to tell that story, and then it's time for action again. Yeah. He's the best.
That's for sure. No doubt about it.
Harry Carey was second, probably.
Yeah. Hey, John Gaskins, always a pleasure to get together.
Thank you, Dave.
Looking forward to tons of fun stuff at the Birdcage this year.
Expect weird, expect fun, expect goofy. This is an experience. We do, there are other teams who have followed this mold, and it's the mold you have to follow. We understand baseball isn't as popular of a game as it used to be. And by the way, what we haven't mentioned yet, which most of your audience probably doesn't care about, we have a pretty damn good team.
Yeah.
We reached the championship of the league last year, and that helped, our manager, who's also our general manager is not the guy who brings in the players like in the big leagues. Our manager does that too. And it's been a lot easier to form a line and to recruit guys. They're almost trying to recruit us now because you have a good team, you have a good summer, and they want to play for you. And, our goal is that, word will get around the association. The opposing players will come to our park and see how much fun we're having in the stands at these games, that they want to come and be a part of it. So, you want to have the entertainment because, again, the baseball is not enough. But when the team is good, man, things get rocking out there, and they were last September. And it's like spring training and training camp for any sports team, right? You're undefeated. It's hope springs eternal. But seriously, we have a pretty damn good team. So, and again, I can't stress this enough to your listeners: if you can sing, if you can dance, if you can.
Be a character.
Be a character. Willing to put on a stupid, silly costume. Make people laugh. Make people smile. You don't even have to do it well. I'm a testament to that. I sing poorly, but they let me do it several times last year just because they felt like their entertainment needed a little shake-up, and we want to take what we started there with that and just, blast it off into outer space. We've got the new owners who are willing to do it. So get in touch with us. My email is jgaskins@sfcanaries.com, or we're on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll read our direct messages. We want you to help us entertain at our shows this year.
All right. Looking forward to 56 shows.
How dare you? You didn't think you were just going to say goodbye and I'd say, thanks, Dave. It's been great to be here.
No. I knew better. However, we did cut down from last year's by 28 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Is that a success?
That's a success.
Okay.
Always
deal,
great.
Thanks,
have fun,
Dave.
my friend.
You're the best. We'll see you out at the park.
You definitely will. Already have some tickets in tow.
Yes.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
I'm thinking of my grandpa Dave, but I just call him Dave.
Thanks again to John Gaskins from the Sioux Falls Canaries and Andy Heller of Fat Dude Digs Flicks. Thanks as well to Wood Grain Brewery, Frontier Bank, and Agua Fresh at 9th and Phillips, providing a great spot for us to hold our conversations. And you know what? You can get some food, you can do a little banking, you can have a beer even. And also, of course, I want to say thank you for listening. The downloads, the streaming, the social media shares, likes, follows, all those numbers continue to climb. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more about the show, check out DaveHollyHour.com. For more about the other entertainment I'm involved in, check out DaveHolly.com. And, of course, don't worry, you can get to one site from the other so you can cover it all. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and Books and Brews Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to davehollyhour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. Click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.